So we're on the very last video that we have to do for the class, and it's the What Have You Learned video. And there are three questions, which is what have you learned? Was this an interesting course? And how does your knowledge on Latin America, like how has it changed? Regarding what I've learned, I was aware a little bit from high school regarding a little bit of the politics in the area and how the United States has disrupted several of the countries down there when it came to whether or not the country, was communist or not, and how all of those aspects worked. But when it came to a lot of like the nitty gritty, more about the individual countries and the things that they've had to experience, I was completely unaware of that, especially when it came to like extra activism. Like I'm very much so conscious of like my environmental footprint, and yet some of the things that were discussed in our class, as well as in documentaries and in the readings, are all things I had no clue that were happening, and also how I ended up going and having a part into it, like with the different plants that were being grown, soya in particular, in the Amazon, and how that was used for fast food. And even though I don't currently consume fast food anymore, back when I was younger, my family did so all the time. So just kind of sitting there and thinking, oh wow, like I actually had a part in a lot of like the people that were taking over the Amazon and taking over the fragile ecosystems and the ecology of the region. It just, even though that was then like me having my part in that, it's still very frustrating to see that I had a part in that. And so obviously it's something that needs to be improved upon, and we need to hold our politicians and our country, especially since the United States, every single thing that we read and that we watched, there's always the mention of the United States. And it's just, it's not exhausting in that we need to fight for it. It's exhausting in that it's always the United States going in, destabilizing regions and putting their hands where they shouldn't be. And just the United States as a country and the people that run it really aren't representing the interest of the people, and the people don't know that. They don't know what's going on. They just think, oh, immigration bad, oh, Latin America, South America bad, we don't like it, without actually knowing the history of it. And taking this course and finding out that history was just enlightening but also infuriating. And so I'm very happy that I'm able to vote so I can go and help hold, hopefully at least help hold some of my representatives accountable for the things that we've done and the things that we're continuing to do. Was this an interesting course? Very much so. I greatly enjoyed this course, whether it be the readings, the videos, the lectures. I think the way that the course was done was very well done. How for some things there were quizzes and there were lectures. For other things there were readings with supplemental like documentaries and videos. And the way that things were done regarding like the timeline was also very well done, and how we kind of focused on each country relatively the same amount of time. I really like that. And then how does your knowledge in Latin America, how has it changed? Well, kind of going back to the first question, I've learned so much more about a region that I just kind of barely knew from a US lens. And so now I think next steps for me, because I would love to obviously learn more. I'm very passionate about social justice and about being an ally, especially as a white person, and all the privileges that I have. And so I think the next best step for me, regarding how my knowledge has changed, is kind of seeking out resources, books, documentaries to kind of further that knowledge and figure out how can I best, help people in Latin America, both like in those countries as well as people that have come to the United States as immigrants, and how can I further help support them as an ally, and then also kind of hold the United States accountable for the terrible things that we've done, both to destabilize the region as well as steal from the region. And so I think that definitely pursuing some of those readings and documentaries and things like that would be very beneficial for myself, just again, to be a good ally. I think my knowledge has changed also in that I was unaware of some of the unintentional like things that I was helping continue, like for example with soya, how McDonald's uses soya for their products as well as some other corporations, and yet a lot of people don't know about that. And so it was very interesting to learn about that, and my knowledge has changed in that I know which corporations to go on, write letters to and not give my money to, because I'm a firm believer in, hey, you speak through your dollar. A lot of, especially in a capitalist society, like you have to speak through your dollar. Like I myself won't support Chick-fil-A because again, you speak through your dollar and I don't support what they support. So it's just, this class is, I really, really enjoyed this class if you can't tell. And that's pretty much the last video for this class and what I've learned.